Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show.
Cup of Joe Wrestling Show?
With Joey Harris. A podcast for the wrestling fan on the go. So take your favorite beverage of choice and join Joey as he takes a look at some of the biggest shows on the WWE Network.
Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show. I am your host, Joey Harris, and we are broadcasting from makeshift studios in the shadow of South Central Virginia. You can follow the show on Twitter at Cup of Joe Pod, email the show at cupofjoewrestlingshow@gmail.com. If you like the show, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts. I would really appreciate it, and it helps people to find the show. And folks, right here up at the top, I do want to send out my condolences to the friends, family, and fans of Russ Francis, former football player with the 49ers, also participated in the WrestleMania 2 Battle Royal and was a wrestler for a while with the AWA. Passed away this past Sunday from an airplane crash, and just our condolences go out to his family, friends, and fans. Today we look at Backlash 2016 from the WWE. Backlash 2016 was a Smackdown Live only event shown on the WWE Network on September 11, 2016 from the Richmond Coliseum in Richmond, Virginia. There were 7,000 in attendance. We start out with our WWE intro, then a September 11th remembrance, then the Backlash intro. Shane McMahon comes out as Backlash begins. Daniel Bryan also comes out. The crowd is in full yes mode when he comes out. Mauro Ranallo, David Otunga, and JBL welcome us to Backlash. They then introduce the Spanish and the German announce teams. McMahon welcomes everyone to Backlash. He talks about Team Blue and all that they are doing to become the best brand. They then talk about all the matches coming up. Smackdown Women's Championship 6-Pack Elimination Challenge match. Becky Lynch, Natalya, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Carmella, and Nikki Bella are your participants. They show some of the heat and what has happened between Nikki and Carmella the last few weeks. This is going to be a cluster at the beginning with so many participants, I'm sure. Referee Mike Chioda raises the SmackDown Women's title up. Half of the participants go to the outside so that there's a spotlight on some of the participants in the ring. Lynch and Naomi left in the ring. Naomi with a flurry of offense early, but Lynch throws her out of the ring. Lynch goes up top to come off on Naomi, but gets attacked by Carmella. I have a feeling this is how this match is going to go. They go back and forth, and Carmella with the head scissors to Lynch off the top rope to get a 2 count. Lynch rolls out, and it's Carmella and Nikki. I knew that this was how this match was going to be. Bliss and Natalya come up behind Carmella, and Natalya throws Carmella out. Nikki then throws them out of the ring, and this is a cluster. Bliss attacks Nikki in the ring and gets a 2 count. They go back and forth, and Nikki gets a 2 count after a kick to Bliss from the second rope. They exchange blows and 2 counts. Natalya with a drop kick and a 2 count on Bliss. It lets each person shine in the ring, very formulaic. Nikki tackles Carmella in the ring. Back and forth, Nikki reverses the code of silence into an Alabama slam for a 2 count. Nikki puts Carmella on the top rope and goes for a superplex, only for both to be powerbombed off by Natalya. All 3 down. Bliss covers Natalya for a 2 count. Bliss attacking everyone. She keeps getting 2 counts. Bliss frustrated that she can't get a pin. Nikki in and goes to suicide dive onto a group on the outside, but gets stopped in mid-run by a shot from Carmella. She throws Nikki out of the ring, but gets thrown out by Naomi. Naomi then jumps to the top rope and comes off on the group. They then go back to the one at a time, King of the Hill style, or I guess I should say Queen of the Hill. Naomi and Natalya do a super blockbuster powerbomb on Bliss, and Naomi pins Bliss, down to 5. Naomi awkwardly head scissors Natalya out. Nikki hits Naomi with a big forearm, but Natalya breaks up the pin attempt to put Naomi in the sharpshooter. Naomi taps, down to 4. Nikki hits an Argentine backbreaker to Natalya to eliminate her. Carmella attacks Nikki right away to pin her, and we're down to Carmella and Lynch. Nikki pissed and claps Carmella as she leaves. A Becky chant goes out. Carmella attacks Lynch. Lynch comes back with a group of suplexes to Carmella. Carmella comes back with a kick. Carmella goes to kick Lynch again, but gets caught in the disarmor and taps, and Lynch is the new SmackDown Women's Champion. The crowd celebrates. Charlie Caruso is in the ring to interview Lynch. Lynch thanks the fans for everything, and it's because of them that she is the champion. We get a Clash of Champions ad. We are then shown Bray Wyatt attacking Randy Orton in the back. The Usos, Jimmy and Jay versus the Hype Bros, Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley. A second chance match for the Smackdown Tag Team Championship. The winner face Rhino and Heath Slater for the championship later tonight. Rawley and Jay start. Rawley with a backdrop. Jay goes outside to regroup. He comes back in and Rawley hits him with a hip toss. Ryder and Jimmy both tagged in and it has been all Hype Bros so far. Jimmy slaps and chops Ryder. Ryder responds with a face buster. They go back and forth. Ryder with a missile dropkick to both Usos on the ground from the apron. Rawley comes around the ring and takes both Usos down by just tackling them. Usos take over on Ryder by throwing him out of the ring, and Jay takes him down with a short arm clothesline. Jay with the pendulum backbreaker to Ryder, and Jimmy tagged in. He gets a suplex and a 2 count on Ryder. A roundhouse kick by Jimmy stops a Ryder comeback attempt. Jay tagged in and cuts off a Ryder tag attempt. Jay with a suplex. Ryder lands on his feet and counters with a hangman's neckbreaker. Both wrestlers trying to tag. Jimmy tagged in and knocks Rawley off the apron. The Usos keep Ryder in their corner. He fights the Usos off and tags Rawley. Rawley cleans house on the Usos. He hits Jay with several clotheslines. He hits him with a pair of stinger splashes. Rawley then throws Jimmy out of the ring and hits Jay with a military press slam. Ryder tagged in and the Hype Bros go for the Hype Rider, but Jimmy pulls Rawley out before they can do the move. Ryder and Jay exchange forearms in the corner. Ryder with a Frankensteiner from the top rope to Jay, but Jimmy stops the count. Ryder throws Jimmy out. Rawley goes to steamroll Jimmy on the outside, only for Jimmy to run him into the barricade. The Usos double team Ryder, and Jay clips Ryder's leg. Jimmy tagged in and gets a submission, and Ryder has no choice but to tap. Renee Young talks to Heath Slater and Rhino. Slater does a typical Slater interview, embarrassing himself. We then get a Connor's Cure ad, then a Cruiserweight Classics Finals commercial. Flashback to the Miz and Daniel Bryan confrontation on Talking Smack, and the fallout to set up the next match. WWE Intercontinental Championship match. The Miz with Maurice versus Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler comes to the ring, gets in, and then we see Miz in the back berating Daniel Bryan, telling him that he needs to bring something to the table. He says SmackDown Live needs him, so he wants to renegotiate his contract and be paid like the star he is. He then leaves and goes to the ring. The Russian, Portuguese, and Japanese announce teams are introduced. The bell rings and they circle each other. Ziggler with a takedown, but they get into the ropes to force a break. Miz goes outside to regroup. Back in the ring, Miz gets a front face lock on and Ziggler bridges over to get a 2 count on Miz, and that was impressive. Ziggler with a series of moves to get 2 counts. He gets on Miz, but Miz gets to the ropes to force a break. Miz comes back with a flurry of offense. He gets the scoop slam. He stomps on Ziggler. Back and forth. Ziggler with some clotheslines. Miz ducks a super kick and comes back with a modified stun gun on Ziggler. He catapults Ziggler into the rope. He then leapfrog body guillotines Ziggler for a 2 count. Ziggler in the backbreaker, but Ziggler flips over for a 2 count. Miz then catapults Ziggler outside and then baseball slides Ziggler when he tries to get in. Miz gets a 2 count when Ziggler does get in. Ziggler misses a stinger splash and hits his head on the post in the corner. Miz gets another 2 count. Miz gets a modified surfboard on Ziggler. Miz with a series of corner drop kicks to Ziggler, and Miz then taunts the fans with the Daniel Bryan point and chants. He then hits the awesome clothesline. He hits a double axe handle from the top rope. Ziggler counters an SCF attempt with a roll up for a 2 count. He then hits a drop kick. Both men down and try to get back to their feet. Ziggler gets a back elbow and a series of clotheslines. He gets Miz in a swinging neck breaker and hits it. He drops an elbow on Miz after a spine buster and gets a 2 count. Back and forth again, and Miz hits a slingshot powerbomb for a 2 count. And I can't believe Ziggler kicked out. Miz up and holding his shoulder. Miz looks to be going for a figure 4, but Ziggler kicks him away. Ziggler gets a close 2 count after a famouser. Miz blocks a zigzag attempt, goes for a move, but Ziggler gets a sleeper. Miz falls down to break the hold and Ziggler runs into the turnbuckle. Ziggler comes back with a DDT for a 2 count. Ziggler hurt, but sets up for the super kick. The Miz blocks it, hits a DDT, and puts Ziggler in the figure 4. Ziggler fighting it and tries to get to the ropes. He does get to the bottom rope. Miz breaks the move on the 4 count. He hits a running kick to Ziggler's face and goes for the figure 4 again, but Ziggler kicks him off. Ziggler with a super kick, but Miz gets his foot on the ropes. Miz gets out of the ring and starts crawling up the aisle. Ziggler out and grabs Miz by the leg. He puts Miz back in. Maurice distracts Ziggler, and then Miz and Ziggler exchange 2 counts from O'Connor rolls. Ziggler kicks Miz away, but Maurice sprays Ziggler in the face with something, and Miz hits the SCF to get the pin. Renee Young and the pay-per-view panel talk about what we have seen so far and also show Baron Corbin defeating Apollo Crews on the kickoff show. Bray Wyatt comes out and they show his attack on Randy Orton earlier in the night. He gets in the ring as they make the announcement that Orton can't compete. Wyatt insists on a count to win the match and wins by forfeit. Wyatt goes to leave as they announce that he will compete in a no-holds-barred match. Bray Wyatt versus Kane. Kane comes out. Wyatt attacks him as soon as he gets in the ring. Kane gets Wyatt in a corner and clotheslines Wyatt. Wyatt rolls out and Kane follows. Kane throws Wyatt into the timekeeper's area, and then Kane takes apart the Spanish announce table. Wyatt hits Kane with the timekeeper's bell. Wyatt grabs a chair, but Kane hits Wyatt in the jaw before he can use it. Back in the ring, Wyatt attacks Kane with a boot to the head. Wyatt goes to the outside and hits Kane with a shot as he comes over. Wyatt throws the chair into the ring. He attacks Kane with the chair. Kane gets back to his feet, and Wyatt hits him again with the chair to get a 2 count. Kane with a back elbow and a DDT to Wyatt on the chair to get a 2 count. Kane takes over on Wyatt. Wyatt blocks a chokeslam attempt and pulls the top rope down. Kane spills to the outside, but lands on his feet and pulls Wyatt out. They fight at ringside. Wyatt gets Kane down with the right arm. Wyatt takes apart the English broadcast table. He puts Kane on the table and hacks him with fists. Wyatt gets on the English announce table and hits a senton to drive Kane through the Spanish announce table. A holy shit chant goes out. Wyatt rolls Kane back in and the crowd boos. Wyatt goes for Sister Abigail, but Kane counters into a chokeslam. He gets a 2 count. Kane puts a chair in the center of the ring and goes for a chokeslam, but Wyatt counters and hits Kane with an uranagi on the chair instead. He gets a 2 count. Randy Orton comes walking down the aisle as a Randy chant goes out. Orton comes in and hits Wyatt with an RKO. Orton then walks up the aisle. Kane then hits a chokeslam and pins Wyatt. AJ Styles is shown in the back. He comes across 2 prelim wrestlers and lectures them how he used to be like them, but they are destined for failure. But they can say that they met AJ Styles on the night he became WWE Champion. A WWE Network ad. Flashback to the Usos match earlier in the night. Finals for the Smackdown Tag Team Championship. The Usos, Jimmy and Jay versus Rhino and Heath Slater. Usos out first. Rhino and Heath Slater get a great reaction when they come out. Slater and Jimmy start as a Let's Go Slater chant goes out. Slater with early advantage as he gets an Irish whip and a running forearm on Jimmy. Jay tagged in and Slater gets him in a front face lock. Rhino tagged in. Rhino with a shoulder block as the crowd chants EC Dub. Back and forth. Slater tagged back in. The Usos try to overwhelm Slater, but he is fighting them off. Jay throws Slater outside and the Usos suplex Slater into the ring post. Jay then superkicks Slater while Jimmy holds him. Jimmy tagged in and covers, but only gets a 2 count. Jimmy then chokes Slater on the rope for a 3 count. Usos double teaming Slater while the referee gets Rhino out of the ring after he comes in to help his partner. Jay tagged in. He gets Slater in a rear chin lock. Jay with a corner whip, but Slater gets his boots up on the charge. Jimmy tagged in and stops Slater from tagging. The Usos keep driving Slater into the corner. They then goad Rhino in and keep the double team up while the referee gets Rhino out. They can't get the pin on Slater though. A We Want Rhino chant goes out. The Usos almost let Slater get the tag before yanking him away. The Usos with quick tags. Jay in and he and Slater both collide and both men down. Then Rhino and Jimmy both tagged in. Rhino cleaning house. He batters Jimmy and sets him up for the gore. Jimmy moves and Rhino runs into the turnbuckle. Slater tags himself in and hits the neck breakers on both Usos. He hits a leaping DDT on Jimmy and covers, but Jay pulls Slater out of the ring. Slater avoids the shot from Jay and knocks him down on the apron, only to run into a kick from Jimmy. Jimmy turns around and Rhino gores him. Slater rolls over and covers Jimmy to get the pin, and he and Rhino are the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. They are presented with the belts and celebrate. Charlie Caruso comes into the ring to interview them. Slater is ecstatic as now he gets a contract. He thanks Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon for letting him enter the tournament, and now he gets a contract. We get a KFC commercial and another Clash of Champions commercial. We then get a preview of the main event. AJ Styles now wears the armband John Cena left in the ring at SummerSlam. Main event for the WWE Championship, Dean Ambrose versus AJ Styles. Styles comes out looking determined and confident. Ambrose gets a big ovation when he comes out. Johnny Fairplay is in the front row and you see him on camera for a second. The bell rings and they circle each other. Some reversals and they break. Styles with some quick covers for 1 count on Ambrose. Ambrose gets to the ropes quickly after a waistlock takedown by Styles. Back and forth, and Styles rolls to the outside to regroup. He gets back in the ring and gets Ambrose down with a double axe handle. They exchange shots and Styles with a forearm to knock Ambrose down. Ambrose comes back with some shots, an Irish whip, and a backdrop to Styles. Styles rolls back outside and Ambrose goes for a suicide dive. Styles gets back in the ring suddenly and drop toe holds Ambrose into the second rope. That was a great move. Styles follows it up with a neck breaker. Styles chokes Ambrose on the top rope for a 3 count. Referee Mike Chioda gets Styles off and Ambrose is gasping for breath. Ambrose comes back with some punches and headbutts. Styles answers with a drop kick for a 2 count. It has been mostly Styles in this match, but he can't get the pin. Ambrose finally gets Styles down in the corner and stomps him. Ambrose with a corner whip, but Styles moves on the charge and Ambrose hits the post with his shoulder. Back and forth. Styles misses the splash attempt when Ambrose moves. Ambrose puts Styles on the top rope and hits him with a belly-to-back suplex, and both men are down. A double count going. Both up at 8. Ambrose with a series of clotheslines to Styles. Styles off the turnbuckle, but Ambrose catches him and performs a backbreaker. He gets a 2 count. Styles rolls to the outside as Ambrose climbs to the turnbuckle, but Ambrose hits him with an elbow drop on the outside. They get back in the ring and Ambrose hits a sit-out facebuster for a 2 count. Ambrose goes for an attack from the top rope, but Styles moves towards Ambrose. Ambrose jumps to the mat, and they do a series of moves to each other. Styles trying for the calf crusher. He does get a suplex into the turnbuckle on Ambrose. They keep countering each other's moves. Styles drives Ambrose's knees into the canvas, and Ambrose looks in pain as the referee gets Styles off of Ambrose. Ambrose struggling to stand up. Styles continues to attack the leg. Styles with a leg lock on Ambrose, who responds with kicks trying to get Styles off. He breaks the hold and goes for a suplex, but Styles reverses it into the calf crusher. Ambrose finally makes it to the ropes to break the hold. Styles goes back to work on the leg with a leg lock, and Ambrose responds by grabbing Styles' head and slamming it into the mat. Styles goes for the Styles clash, but Ambrose grabs the ropes before he can get it on. Ambrose spills out to the apron, and Styles hits an enziguri. Ambrose reverses Styles on the apron and catapults him into the turnbuckle. That looked painful. Ambrose runs Styles into the barricade with a lariat and then throws Styles back in the ring. Ambrose hits a running clothesline and a bulldog on Styles. He gets a 2 count. Styles comes back with a forearm and a fireman's carry into a neck breaker. That gets a 2 count. Styles with the torture rack on Ambrose into a sit-out powerbomb for a 2 count. Styles with a springboard 450 splash and cover for a close 2 count. Ambrose comes back with a neck breaker. Ambrose with a series of knee strikes and a baseball slide that drives Styles to the outside. Ambrose follows it up with a suicide dive that knocks Styles over the announce table. Ambrose throws Styles over the barricade into the crowd. Ambrose then climbs on the announce table and hits Styles with a double axe handle out in the crowd. Ambrose then throws Styles back in the ring and goes to hit him, and Styles responds with a Pele kick. Ambrose comes back with a clothesline. Ambrose goes for Dirty D's, but backs into Chioda to take him out. Styles kicks Ambrose with a low blow and hits the Styles clash. He pins Ambrose to become the new WWE champion. They replay some of the highlights of the match and sign off from Richmond. Final thoughts. This was a solid show. The main event was very good. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TheJoeyHarris. You can support the show at paypal.me/cupofjoepod. Thank you for joining me this week. This is Joey saying so long from the heart of Virginia.
The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show is a production of Baby Kangaroo Media.